Hello guys, this is Phil and this is a video update about the basically the project I was doing about homemade tobacco dip. Okay, the long and short of it is you basically want to break down the pipe tobacco from the ribbon to the fine cut. It absorbs all the flavors that you give it eventually much better. It's better to dip and to, put a pinch between your cheek and gum, so to speak. The video here doesn't show it, but this tobacco sitting now for 2 or 3 months, maybe even more, is much darker. And in the camera, it looks kind of brown, but in reality, it's very dark now. Sitting in the refrigerator, if you want to say curing or what have you, I forgot the word again. It's always on the tip of my tongue. Apple juice is definitely the best flavor to use, and add salt. And you're going to have to test it out yourself. When you simmer down the apple juice in a pan or a pot, you might want to add some sugars to it, maybe some brown sugars. That might help. I forgot the name of the sugar packets. But basically the light brown sugar or more realistic sugar, okay, everybody should know by now that regular white sugar is the worst kind of sugar and it's highly processed. But if you have sugar and it's almost crystallized and it's got a little brown tint to it, it's more natural and it isn't processed as much. Add some of that into it. Like I said in other videos, I don't like the molasses syrupy, really thick kind of juicy stuff. I like juicy, but I like bitter, and I like a little bit of salt. So I took a dip. You can see right there in that gouge there. I took a dip again, and I tested it out. It was even better than before. So I'm thinking that if Armageddon happens and you have the apocalypse, basically you want to start ahead of time and make your own batch. Make up as much apple juice, whatever the juice is, you're going to mix with your tobacco. Okay, when you add it in there, there is going to be an aging process. Okay, so it ferments. That's the word I'm looking for. This is very flavorful. Like I said before, very juicy. It's a little more tampered down than when I had a dip a couple months ago or about a month and a half ago. Still very delicious. And like before, there was that kind of fresh tobacco or cigarette tobacco or pipe tobacco flavor. Us kids used to try to dip that too. If we had to borrow it from our parents, without them knowing. And that really dry tobacco flavor is strong and tart, and it's not really good. It's not, it's too tart and it tastes really foreign, if that makes sense. But when you mix the flavors in, okay, if you have 100% flavor with this tobacco right here, I would say barely 5 to 3% of it might have a little bit of that original tobacco flavor, that tartness. It tastes almost, I want to say, besides foreign, it tastes almost manufactured, if that makes sense. It doesn't taste like food. It doesn't taste like you could consume it. It's got that very odd flavor to it. That's real tobacco flavor, okay? Some tobaccos are aged, they're smoked differently, and they have a certain aroma with them. But then try putting it in your mouth, and it's straight tobacco. Okay, not really enjoyable at all. This is very enjoyable. Right here, these two basically bowls right here, very flavorful. They satisfy. They don't upset my stomach. I don't feel like it's it's a GERD issue. To be honest, I've always loved tobacco, never had an issue with it. It's coffee that I'm working on to find the best brew that doesn't, bubble up and cause acid reflux. But this tobacco is delicious. No upset stomach, no bad aftertaste. And all I did was basically the pan method of apple juice and keep on adding apple juice. And then I had to add some sugar to try to thicken it up some. Some basic sugar, not white sugar, but a little off brown sugar. And it was very good. Very good. And you might want to add some molasses to thicken up your mix that you add to the tobacco. So in this update, basically, the longer the tobacco sits in a mostly dry environment while it's sucking up all the juices and it ferments, it is 10 times better than I thought it would be. It was good at the beginning when it was very flavorful too. To be honest, there was probably a 10% old tobacco flavor, that dry tobacco flavor that's uncured. Okay, and it gives off that kind of, I want to say, medicinal kind of flavor that's not pleasurable. Well, this right here, 100% pleasurable. I taste the tobacco, but it's not overbearing. It's just scents of it. Okay, and it's really delicious. Make your own mixes up. Maybe add more salt if you're trying to get the Copenhagen type flavor. I still have not attained that kind of fine cut Dane or Copenhagen flavor that's really salty. That's more my favorite, where it has juice and it's not dry, but it has juice that is produced, but over, let's say, a longer time than a quicker time. Like the chawed tobaccos or the Grizzlies and the long cuts and all that. A lot of people like that. Unfortunately, I'm indoors a lot and I have to take a dip sometimes 15 minutes before I go outside. And I want to enjoy a dip longer than 15 minutes, like someone who would smoke. So I want something that's not overbearing with the juice, but satisfies, and it's got a little bite to it, and it's not all sweet and sour, so to speak. I want it more on the salty side and a little bit of tang in the back of my tongue, where I know, wow, that was pretty good. That was pretty good, not overbearing, and it had a little bite to it. Well, this does. This satisfies 100%. But if it's Armageddon, you might want to plan ahead of time, make your juices, add them to your batch of tobacco. Each bowl is a half a pound of tobacco here. And literally, all this would last me months. Okay? Sitting months, I've taken a dip here and there just to taste the differences. And now as it's aged, and perhaps whatever the word is, fermented, it is so much better. I'm actually quite happy with this. But plan ahead of time. Buy like 10 pounds of tobacco from your tobacco store. Put it away. Make sure you have some kind of juices or some kind of mix you can mix to add to your tobacco and make it very flavorful. Bring out the juices and then let it sit. Put it in an airtight container so it won't dry out necessarily, but all the tobacco will suck up all those juices. And you'll probably save, I don't know, for $11 pound of tobacco and a half a gallon of apple juice. You'll probably save for this amount of tobacco, I'd say you'd probably save about 50 to 70 bucks, maybe $100, depending on how much chew you do. I chew a lot. I like my dip tobacco. It's coffee my body doesn't like. I like the flavor of coffee, but it gives me acid reflux every time. But this is delicious, guys. Try out your own mixes, but let it sit and age. You will not be disappointed. Trust me. Thank you guys for listening, and have a good day.